Ford's position on current EV market. Guess what? Gasoline-powered cars are making a comeback. Ford's CEO made a surprising move by hitting the brakes on their electric vehicle productions, leaving the entire car world in shock and car enthusiasts doing a happy dance. Why? Well, he believes EVs are hurting the middle class. And to put a stop to the pushy politicians advocating for more EVs, Ford decided to slam the brakes on them altogether. But hold on, there's more drama. Ford faced a colossal loss of over $4 billion in just 1 year. Picture this, they had to let go of thousands of local employees, and to add fuel to the fire, they had to recall hundreds of thousands of vehicles due to various issues. It's like Ford's EV problems are just the tip of a very troublesome iceberg. Now the big question is Ford closing its doors. It turns out that EVs might be causing more trouble than we thought. If you don't understand, stick around to the end of this video. Ford decided to halt production on their best-selling EV pickup. CEO Jim Farley announced the shutdown of the F-150 production at their Dearborn, Michigan factory. Why? Well, it seems like they're standing up against those sneaky politicians trying to shove expensive electric cars down our throats. The real shocker is why Ford had to make this bold move. I'm about to reveal the reasons later in this video. And trust me, one of them even involves people meeting their end due to EV unreliability. Now let's dive into the nitty-gritty of the situation. Imagine a grand tale featuring the public, the thriving EV market, a reluctant hero, Ford, and the unexpected villains, the government and emissions norms. Picture this, Ford, happily crafting traditional cars, suddenly finds itself thrust into the world of electric vehicles, EVs, by the government's impassioned embrace of a greener future. Our protagonist Ford faced a challenging twist in the plot when Joe Biden laid down stringent emissions norms. It was like the hero had to embrace a new superhero persona overnight, in this case becoming an EV champion. But here's where the drama unfolds. Despite the government's fervent push, customers weren't cheering for EVs. In fact, they outright despised them. Ford, especially with its highly anticipated F-150 Lightning, expected a blockbuster, but the reality, a different story. Dealerships resembled ghost towns, with over 90,000 EVs gathering dust. And hold on, it's not just Ford grappling with this crisis. General Motors found itself in a similar predicament, courtesy of its CEO's decisions. Even the dealers, in a bold move, penned an open letter to President Biden, proclaiming, "We're not ready for this EV future." And poor Ford, imagine being left with a hot potato. It turned into a financial disaster, with a staggering loss of $36,000 on each EV sold. Unbelievable, right? But Ford's not alone in this misfortune. The entire EV market is in turmoil. The shutdown resulted in around 1,400 workers at the Electrical Vehicle Center, where the Lightning is built, facing an uncertain future. Half of them are relocating to boost production for the gasoline-powered Ford Bronco and Ranger models at a nearby plant. Now, as we unravel this EV saga, one can't help but wonder, did the push for a greener future backfire? Are customers not ready for this electric revolution? What about the fate of those workers caught in the midst of this EV chaos? So you know how Ford's had some bumps in the road lately? Well, they've hit a speed bump again. Picture this, 35,000 Mustang Mach-Es are being called back because of a battery hiccup that could leave you stuck. And that's not the first time. 49,000 other Mach-E vehicles had their own recall party. Ford's basically become the recall champ in the US for 2 years straight. In 2022, they rang the recall bell 68 times, affecting a whopping 8.7 million rides. The year before, it was 53 recalls for 4.5 million cars, costing them a jaw-dropping $4 billion. And guess what? Toyota saw this storm brewing a year ago and did a complete 180. Now let's talk about a Texan named Justin and his fancy $90,000 EV truck. It's gathering dust because of these quality issues. Ford's had its fair share of troubles with new car launches, and the switch to electric cars has only fueled the flames. But hold on, they've hit the brakes on EV production. Ford CEO Jim Farley pulled the plug, realizing people still crave old-school gas guzzlers. Now on to another player, General Motors, GM. Brace yourself, it's a bit of a roller coaster. In just 1 week, over 1,000 workers got the boot. And the financial situation? It's like trying to navigate a maze blindfolded. Mary Barra, GM CEO, is in the spotlight, making decisions that has everyone shaking their heads. Her plan? Go big on luxury EVs and shrug off the everyday person's needs. She thinks cheaper EVs under $30,000 won't make money, so why bother, right? To add to it all, GM ditched its big plan to make 400,000 budget-friendly EVs by 2030 and broke up with Honda. Their cars? Well, they're like the drama queens on the road, always acting up with software glitches, braking system issues, and a less than impressive interior. And the price tag? Whew, not a friendly number. Now get this juicy scoop. Lots of folks who hopped on the electric car bandwagon are making a U-turn to good old hybrids. Yeah, you heard that right. They're giving their snazzy EVs a farewell wave and cozying up to hybrids. Why, you ask? Well, hybrids are like the budget-friendly superheroes of the car world. Less hassle, more affordable, and a comforting hug for the average Joe and Jane. Let's talk numbers. The average hybrid won't break the bank at around $42,381, a total steal compared to the hefty $59,400 you'd have to shell out for an EV. But guess who's rocking the car scene despite the EV roller coaster? Toyota, that's who. Akio, the big boss at Toyota, has been on a rooftop shouting about the risk of going all in on EVs while others were going gaga for them. Toyota, the lone voice in the wilderness, warning us all about a potential cliff. It's more like they saw the future and were prepared to tackle it. Right from the beginning, Toyota has been shouting from the rooftops, hey, electric cars aren't the only road to being eco-friendly. They're all about giving you options. Even Elon Musk, the electric car wizard, took a hit, a whopping $28 billion, because Tesla stock went on a bad ride. But Toyota isn't just talking. They're cooking up some hush-hush projects that could change everything. We're talking about a super secret ammonia engine that promises mind-blowing mileage, like going from New York City to Miami without a pit stop. Investors, especially those fancy European funds, are getting jittery about Toyota's anti-electric stance. People are worried Toyota's stand might leave them in the dust. Yet Toyota's holding firm, and guess what? If you think not everyone's into electric cars just because of Toyota, you're in for a big surprise. Let's dive into the crux of the matter, starting with reliability. Well, it turns out electric cars have a whopping 80% more repair issues compared to your trusty old gas or hybrid cars. Imagine shelling out a fortune for a brand new electric car only to face a bunch of problems. We're talking batteries refusing to charge, weird noises from the car, you name it. But hold on, it gets even more interesting. Ever heard the saying, fixing these fancy machines can cost an arm and a leg? Well, we're not talking chump change here. Imagine a teensy scratch on your EV turning into a whopping $60,000 bill. It's like buying a brand new car just to patch up the old one. And brace yourself, a guy in Canada had to cough up $50,000 just to swap out his Tesla's battery. Yep, replacing a battery can practically match the price of a new car. Now picture this, you think owning an EV is smooth sailing, right? Well, wrong, my friends. When winter hits, these cars lose their juice faster than you can say charge. It's like your phone calling it quits when you need it the most. The charging stations? Oh boy, they're either on the fritz or so crowded you think they're handing out free ice cream. EV owners end up feeling like they've been left high and dry, regretting the switch from good old gas cars. But wait, there's more. Let's talk about something seriously spooky. EVs catching fire. Remember Omar Awan? His Tesla Model S went up in flames after a crash, trapping him inside. Scary, right? And it's not just a one-time thing. EVs turning into fireballs has become a real-life nightmare. Blame it on those lithium-ion batteries. When they go haywire, things get explosive. Literally. Electric cars have some issues with their software. VW had to recall lots of their cars because of it, and even Cadillac's EV, the Lyric, had some problems. Plus, these two EVs weren't selling that well to start with. There are two big problems everyone knows about: range anxiety, worrying about how far the car can go, and really high prices. If you want an electric car, get ready to pay an extra $20,000 compared to a hybrid. And guess what? You'll need to drive it for at least 60,000 miles before you start saving money. Right now, the whole electric car market is a bit of a mess. So my friendly advice, if you're thinking about buying an electric car, maybe wait for a bit. Stick with gas or hybrids for now. Now, Ford is putting all its focus on regular gas cars. They're making more Bronco and Ranger models, creating jobs, and going back to what they do best. It's like they're saying, we heard you customers, we're giving you what you want. But here's the twist. The government is still really into electric cars. They want 67% of all new cars in 2032 to be electric. It's like a reality check. Maybe we're not quite ready for a future with only electric cars. Now the big question is, what does all this mean for the future of cars? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you enjoyed this video.